All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of The Market Close. It is Thursday, February 20th, 3:47 p.m. We've got a ton of earnings to get into. We've got Rivin, we've got Celisus, we've got Nubank, we've got Mercado Libre, we've got Block, we've got Coca-Cola, we've got Texas Roadhouse. We've got a lot of different earnings to talk about, so we'll be covering all of that live in about 15 minutes when we get all those numbers. Number two is we've got Jason, who's going to be on. I think he's actually going to be on with me in about 14 minutes, and he's going to be discussing all those earnings with me, breaking them down live. And then at about 4:30, so in about 45 minutes, we're going to be starting Technical Thursday. Can't go as long as we usually do Technical Tuesdays because he has to leave a little early today. But we'll have about 2 hours to get through all the different technicals we want to look at and get his take as well from a technical perspective on where this market's going, where this market's been, and what buys and sells he's making as well. On top of that, we've got a little bit of a recovery. Dare I say a recovery? It definitely is a recovery. It's not a full recovery, but the 10:02 bottom that we put in intraday on the 20th of February, which is today, that's when Palantir was at 95.80. That's when Robinhood was at 54.23. That's when a lot of these different names ended up bottoming for the day. We've recovered since then. Palantir from 95.80 to 106, still down 5% on the day, but at one point it was down about 14% on the day. So that is the story kind of across the board in terms of a lot of these different equities. Apple right here at 245 has been green for the majority of the day. Broadcom recovering from that 222 bottom, now at 226. SOFI bottomed at 1506, now at 1558. Even SMCI got to freaking 63. Right now it's at 59.78, but it did get to 63 at one point during the day, I think a couple hours ago, which is pretty incredible, right? That's pretty incredible for the S&P 500 or for SMCI to get here. The S&P 500 right now was down about 1% on the market open. It is down about 0.45%. So a little bit of recovery of about 0.5%. Reddit, tough day, down about 7%, but it's up from 176 to 170. Grab at the lows was at 460, now at 483. NVDA kind of stayed green all day, but at the lows it was at 136, now basically at 140, at 139.92. And even Tesla was at 348, now at 354, recovering from the lows of the day. So, to be honest, it's not that crazy of a day. Like, it was a bit red in the morning. It was a little annoying to see all that red, but we definitely got a bit of recovery from that red. And I think a lot of people's portfolios, no matter how much you were down during the day, probably are not down that much during the day as we get into the market close. The only move I did today is sell a couple more puts on Rock Lab. I sold 10 more puts. So, at 32, I think I picked up $1.75 in premium. Now those puts are worth $1.34. My average on those puts are $1.15. So that's the only move I did today. I did not buy Hood, did not buy Palantir, did not buy pretty much any of these names outside of selling those puts. Let me know in the chat if you bought anything, if you sold anything, if you hedged in any certain direction. But that's kind of the only thing I did today. In terms of fear and greed on the index, we are at neutral, 45. So we're just about to be on fear. If we go down a couple more percentage points on fear and greed, we would be at fear. But right now we are currently at neutral right now. So it was one of those days where, look, if you made a move, you made a move. But if you kind of just sat back and didn't do anything, then I think that's okay as well. You kind of didn't really need to do anything as there just, there was volatility, but it wasn't a ton of volatility to the point where a dip had to be bought or a stock had to be sold. I think anyone who sold in the morning probably had a little bit of panic selling unless you were getting margin called or anything. But if you bought the dip, so far, if you got that 10 a.m. bottom, then you are probably doing better, at least here right now. Jackie bought 400 shares of Rocket Lab. Walt sold some puts on Hood, SoFi, Palantir. Ali says, I'm in extreme fear. Swaggy bought some Hood. Master bought some Grab. June bought some Rocket Lab. Bukowski bought some Hood, Palantir, Clean Spark. All right, a decent amount of you bought some names. On Beneficial added 75x Hood at 54.80. I think you got the bottom, dude. I think 54.80 was the bottom of Hood. Or it was very close to the bottom. It's like 54.50 was the bottom. So not too bad. It looks like a lot of you guys also said you did kind of nothing for the day. Reza said, I bought 7,000 SoFi. Hardeep bought some Tesla. Alex said, I sold some JD. Baba for the day as well. Yeah, Baba was a relatively strong winner today here. Baba 136. Well, it actually gave back some of the gains. It was at 144, now at 136, up 8.7%. But again, that's kind of the story on the day. Like, if you made a move, that's great. If you didn't make a move, I don't think that matters too much. It was just not one of those days where there was an epic swing back or forth. It was a day where there was some volatility, and that volatility is normal after a ton of green throughout the year. for the first 6 weeks of the year. And I think that's it. That's kind of the story for today. It wasn't too much more complicated from that. We did get some Fed speak from Goolsby. Didn't say anything that interesting. Again, the jobs claims this morning was not that interesting either. So, I mean, from a macro perspective, there wasn't anything that crazy that we found out today as well. For earnings, we've got Mercado Libre, Celsius, Rivin, Texas Roadhouse, Coca-Cola, and then Block. So let me just pull up this list right here. XYZ, Texas Roadhouse, Celsius, Rivin, Mercado Libre, Block, Coca-Cola. Okay, so those are the main ones. I think we have a couple others, but and then Nubank. Nubank, we have that as well. So we're going to be looking at this list for all of our earnings today, and we're going to be trying to get through all of those numbers as we get in there here today. Not bad. Not bad at all in terms of some of the stuff I'm seeing in the chat and in terms of the overall momentum. Look, I like that we had a reversal because, I mean, like, if we broke 95.80 on Palantir at that 10 a.m. bottom, then obviously things would have got a lot worse. But things didn't get that much worse because people stepped in and bought the dip, and they bought the dip across the entire market. And, I would say it's not even just people. It's broader algorithms that came in because a lot of these algorithms most likely took them down earlier in the day as well. Okay, so now I want everyone to say how down their portfolio is, because in the morning I was down 60. Now I'm down 27. Nice little reversal, right? Nice little reversal of about 33K. So not too bad to get the reversal. Speaking of reversals, let me show you guys something right here. I forgot I was going to even mention this right here. So we had a little spicy day on FinTwit as well. We had a spicy little day on FinTwit. Why do we have a spicy little day on FinTwit? Well, I tweeted what we talked about in the market open, which is my portfolio was down 60,000 at the worst of it today. My friend sent a screenshot of being down 90 million. I told you guys this morning, for those that didn't join the market open, we talked about that in the morning. I want to be like him one day. It's a privilege to be down so much. I tweeted that. I was like, you know what? I think it's a fun little tweet, and kind of gets the sentiment out that I was trying to go for, which is that being down 60,000 is bad, but being down 90 million is worse. But it's still sort of a privilege and an honor to be down in the first place. And then this random guy that I don't even know about, he tweets this: my portfolio was down 960,000 at the worst of it today. My friend sent a screenshot of being down 900 million. I want to be like him one day. It's a privilege to be down so much. Usually I don't respond to this stuff. Okay. I usually don't tend to respond to this type of stuff, making fun of people, all that stuff, because I just don't engage in that. But I don't know what it was today. Something kind of got under my skin, and I was just like, you know what? This is getting annoying. This is getting kind of annoying. Obviously, my account's growing on Twitter, and whenever people start seeing a bigger account get some attention, they want to come and take you down in some type of way. So I finally responded. I gave a little bit of a response. I said, the cool thing about seeing these posts is remembering that I don't charge people $50 a month to access my content, which Kian Trades does end up doing that if you click the link in his bio. And that is why when I say something, people can trust me, because I have no incentive to lie, because I don't monetize my audience. The reason people who actually are down $90 million in a day and want to have a relationship with me is because I don't charge $50 a month in some Discord promising when to make them rich from my buy and sell alerts. It's always funny to see people who suck money from their followers be the ones to troll. I always wonder why people who are so great at the markets need to charge their followers money to access their content, almost as if their business revolves around getting people to believe in their trades versus just making money off their trades. All good though. It was a great troll post. So I went off. I was like, you know what? I'm going off. And yeah, it was a pretty epic ratio. I didn't expect this post to get 1,000 likes. I didn't expect to get 1,000 likes, but a lot of people commented on this post, and yeah, I think people are so tired of the grifting, bro. And I'm not saying if you charge for a service, you're a grifter. I'm just saying if you want to make fun of someone, and then at the same time, you're going to be engaging in actions that essentially steal money from people for buy-sell alerts that are, quite frankly, ridiculous, because most people that have buy-sell alerts don't actually make you money. They just tell you a buy-sell alert, and you think you're making money because you're getting manipulated to subscribe to their service. I mean, like, yeah, like I'm going to call you out on that, because I'm just getting annoyed by it. And for those that, didn't believe that $90 million was actually a thing, Derek ended up posting the picture. So I didn't want to post the picture, but Derek ended up posting it himself. And there you go. 90 million down in a day. It's just so funny, bro, because the whole sentiment of that post that was going against me was essentially thinking I'm lying, right? Like that I got a screenshot from a friend that wasn't actually down $90 million. And the hilarious thing about it is the reason that I am friends with people like a Derek that want to engage and talk with me is because I don't have a Discord that charges for a buy or sell alert. There was another person who screenshotted my post who also does this buy, sell alert stuff. And he was just like, this guy's being a crybaby, yada, yada. People are allowed to make money off their services. And it's just funny to me because all the comments under the post were like, yeah, there's no way this guy is talking to anyone who's actually down $90 million in a day. And I'm like, no, you guys have it the opposite. The reason I'm talking to people that are actually wealthy and they care about engaging with me is because I'm not selling the grifting bullshit that you're selling to your audience that, quite frankly, is the reason you even have a business in the first place, is because you're monetizing their attention, not actually creating valuable content. Because if you're creating valuable content, you wouldn't need to monetize your audience because you'd be making enough money in the markets. I mean, like, it's just, I like, at the end of the day, I'm not against people monetizing their services. It's just, if you're in the stock market and you're making money in the stock market, then charging your audience to see exactly what you're doing so they can make exactly the type of money you're doing means you're not necessarily, in my opinion, really making money off the stock market. There's like a few of them that are actually like Jason is someone I would trust, right? Who has a Discord, who actually has his own service, but like he's someone you can trust. He's someone that you know has like 30 years of experience. A lot of these other guys are full of shit. Like, they're all full of shit. So it's just, I don't really go off on people, bro. I don't go off on people. But like today, I don't know, there was something about it, bro, because I just feel like as my account is growing, people like want to take shots at you. And I'm like, look, I'm all for the shots. You can do what you want to do. Like tequila, Jaeger bombs, it is what it is. If you want to throw shots at me, go ahead and throw your shots. But don't accuse me of lying. And I didn't tell Derek to post that screenshot, but he ended up posting it himself. But yeah, I wasn't lying. I mean, like that's a real screenshot of being down 90 million in a day. But there's a reason, you know, you're engaging with some of those people versus these other folks. So yeah, we had a little spicy action on Twitter. It is what it is. Had a little spicy FinTwit action throughout the day, but nonetheless, we're here, we're live. We got a lot of earnings, and it is what it is, dude. Razor says it's normal limit. It's just normal when you're growing. Yeah, I mean, look, as you're growing anything as a personal brand, people are going to try to, and these are people with like, you know, 10, 20, 30,000 followers. Someone was like, oh, all of his 150,000 followers are fake. There's no way I can believe he has 150,000 followers. I'm like, no, the reason people are following me is because I'm not grifting. Like, like, yes, you can grow an actual audience without grifting. You don't have to pay for followers. Like, people will naturally want to follow you if they enjoy your content and you're not sucking money out of them pitching your stupid course or buy sell alert on Discord. But the far majority of these FinTwit furus do that all day. And so they can't imagine building an authentic audience without having to do that. But nonetheless, look, if the course grifters are mad at me, then I think I'm doing the right thing. I think I'd be doing the right thing. All right, we got a lot of earnings to get into. Here we go, 4 p.m. Thursday, February 20th. The stock market is now closed. All right, here we go. We've got earnings. We've got earnings to get into, and we've got a lot of stuff to talk about as we get into these earnings. So first of all, Palantir closes at 106.27. Not that big of a deal. Down 5% is not that crazy. It was down 14%, so we got a nice little recovery from there. Robinhood, 56.06, down about 5.34%. SoundHound, down about 2% on the day. S&P 500, down 0.41, basically at all-time highs. That's not a big deal either. Alibaba was up about 8% on the day, and then SOFI right here recovered, down 3.82%. Here are the companies we got. Let me know in the chat if you own any of these. Nubank, Texas Roadhouse, Block, Coca-Cola, Mercado Libre, Celisus, and Rivin. These are the big ones that we're looking at. And as soon as we get these numbers, I will be pulling them up on the screen so we can go through them. I would imagine in the next 5 minutes, we are going to be getting these numbers, and then we'll be taking a look at what we got. I think out of all of these, Celisus is the one that most of you guys own. Here's a poll that I'm going to do in the chat. I can only pick 4 of these because I only get the option to do 4 choices. But I'm going to do the poll of which one do you think is going to outperform. So let's do which one outperforms today. We got Nubank, Celisus, we'll do Rivin, and then we'll do XYZ. I think those are the most popular 4. All right, which one do you think? If I had to guess, bro, and I'm literally just guessing, Mercado Libre is already up. So for those that picked that one, but did I put that one on I don't know if I didn't put that one on the poll. Okay, so that's good. I didn't put it on the poll. But Mercado Libre up 6%. I don't even know which one to pick. I don't know, dude. I have no idea. I want to say Celisus, but then again, Celisus is already run. I really don't follow these companies in depth. I also want to say Square, but Bitcoin's kind of flat. I'll go with Celsius, but it's a pure guess. It's a pure guess on my part for Celsius. Pure guess on Celsius. All right, Mercado Libre, that's up 9%. So it looks like Mercado Libre is putting up the numbers. Looks like Mercado Libre is putting up the numbers. Yes, we have Booking as well. Let me add that to the list. BKNG. That one is on today. That's up 4%. So we got Booking up 4%. We got Celsius up 1%. Mercado Libre up 11%. Wow. Looks like Meli put up some numbers. Street's getting excited about that. Don't have the numbers yet. I will share it live once we do. But they are not live yet. It seems like most of you guys own Rivin, Celsius, and XYZ from what I'm seeing in the chat. But the majority of you own Celsius. It looks like the majority of you own Celsius. Nubank, we are flat after hours. Bookings up 3%. Mercado Libre is up 10%. Mercado Libre, $107 billion company. A 10% move is not a small move. That's a pretty aggressive move. So it is nice to see that that we're getting that move right here. 10.73%. Celsius right here, 1.45%. Rivin, 0.29%. No big move here yet. By the way, that 90 million loss I showed you, now it's a 43 million loss. I just got another screenshot. So recovered about half of that 90 million. So look, not bad. Not bad. 43 million is still a lot of money, but at least it's not 90 million. And that's pretty consistent with my portfolio. I was down 60, now I'm down 30. I think the majority of you guys kind of recovered half of it as well. So overall, wasn't the bloodiest day in the markets. Texas Roadhouse is up 5%. All right. TXRH, that's up 5%, getting some momentum. Celsius is up about 2%, a little bit of a move. Rivian's up 7%. Rivian's getting a move. Rivin is getting a move, 7.8% right here. Now it's up 8%. Mercado Libre is up 12%. Let me see if I have any numbers. I don't have the numbers yet from the street. Are there numbers here? Nope, we don't have numbers yet. Okay, so a lot of these are moving on terminal numbers, but regular media does not have these numbers yet. Oh, wow. Rivin just went, oh my God, Rivin's going red. Okay, that just went from green to red. That just went from green to red. So that one went down. Now it's down 3%. Damn, dude, that was quick. That was freaking quick. It looks like it's about to be break even for a second. Mercado's the only one holding on to its green. Celsius, no numbers yet. Bookings also holding on to about 5%. Nubank's flat. Texas Roadhouse was up 5%. Now it's flat. And Coca-Cola is also flat. Block as well is flat. It would be funny if Block is the one that moves the most, to be honest. IOND, InnoData. So I don't know this one. This is a small cap. We'll take a look at it later, but I think that's rather an unknown one. It was down 8% of the day. That's up 5% right now. That is a $1 billion market cap, so it seems like a small cap one. Nubank right here still flat. Bookings up 5%. And the Mercado Libre up 12.3% on the day. Coca-Cola is not reporting. Okay, if they're not, then the website I was using got that wrong, and we're not going to get Coca-Cola today. But we should be getting the others. I think you're right. I think Coca-Cola did report already. I don't know why this website's saying that they will. Oh, Dropbox is reporting today, though. Let me put Dropbox on the list. DBX Dropbox. That's up about 2%. Rivian's now up 3%. Celsius is up 1.04. 1.04. Matt said, I'm currently enjoying a strawberry passion fruit Celsius. Dude, I never got on the side of Celsius. I never liked the drink. Just never liked it. Never liked it. But let's see if they can get back the growth, because that is the most important at this point, along with that Pepsi revenue. That's important. INOD, again, I don't know this one. We'll add it to the list, but this one up about 5%. InnoData, this one's up 5.39%. So that's getting some momentum right here. Again, it's a small cap, 1.58 billion. But they are green. Blocks up 1%. Mercado Libre is up 12%. Let's see if we have numbers here. All right, we got some numbers. Here we go. Let's pull this up right here.
Bottom line for Rivin, with a smaller than expected loss of 46 cents a share. The street was expecting a loss of 65 cents a share, with revenue coming in at 1.73 billion, topping the estimate of 1.4 billion. The numbers within the numbers in the fourth quarter, as the company was predicting it would, it did turn a gross profit in the fourth quarter, a gross profit of $170 million. Automotive was $110 million gross profit. You do the math here for the number of vehicles delivered. The gross profit per vehicle in the fourth quarter, $7,755. Gross profit margin, $10 million. Free cash flow of $856 million. But the guidance, this is what people are going to be focused on. Rivian expects to deliver in 2020.
Hold on, Nubank's tanking. Hold on. We'll get back to Rivian. Nubank is tanking. Oh boy. Nubank is down 6.3%. At one point, it was down 8%. Now it's back down 8.4%. Oh my. What did the poll say? What did you guys say? You guys said Celisus outperforms. Nubank was second, though. 35% of you guys voted for Nubank. 36% said Celisus. So unless this is a head fake, Nubank looks like it's not going to be outperforming here. So Celisus is our bet. Oh, Celisus is down 6% too. All right. So the top two polls, including the one I picked, Celisus, got it wrong. Well, Celisus kind of is recovering a little bit. Now it's down 3%. Nubank is still down 7%. Celisus now down 5%. Both of them look like they want to stay down. Oh my. Okay, I need to get these numbers. XYZ is not reported yet. They're up 1%. Let me see if I can get the numbers on Celisus or Nubank. I have Dropbox numbers, 73 cents versus 62 cents. That's a beat. On EPS, 643 versus 638. That's a beat on revenue. Dropbox is flat. Does anyone even use Dropbox anymore? I mean, I kind of use Dropbox, but I don't think anyone cares that much about that one. So Dropbox flat, even with the double beat. Celisus now down 6%. Don't have their numbers. And then Nubank down 6% as well. Better than being down 8%, but still down 6%. Let's get back to Rivian real quick, and then I'll try to get the numbers on Celisus and Nubank.
Between 46,000 and 51,000 vehicles. For a point of reference, the company delivered more than 51,000 vehicles in 2024, a loss of between $1.7 and $1.9 billion. A capex guidance of spending between $1.6 and $1.7 billion. They do expect to turn a modest gross profit in 2025, but they also note the outlook is challenging. The environment for EVs is challenging. Lots to discuss with Rivian CEO RJ Scaringe. As you guys know, it's an overtime exclusive coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, so we don't have the numbers yet for the other guys, but Rivian is down. Looks like they are guiding to hopefully be profitable by the end of the year, but the street doesn't love it. Well, they don't hate it, but they don't love it. Rivian right here up 2.7%. Celisus down 4%. Block, we just still don't have those numbers. Texas Roadhouse was up 5%. That's down 1%. Nubank down 8% officially. Let me try to get Nubank's numbers on their website. That's weird, dude. Nubank, I know Nubank is having a ton of headwinds with their currency in Brazil and some of the regulations in Brazil, but from my understanding, the growth has not slowed down. Those are more macro-driven events. So I wonder what's really taking them down here. We'll see if we can pull up their results. Celisus is buying rival Alani for $1.8 billion. What? Well, that's why it's down 4%, because they're spending $1 billion, which is 1/6 of their market cap, to buy Alani. I actually know Alani. You guys know Alani, right? Alani it's like a woman's energy drink. I don't know if I'm categorizing it correctly, but it's more of an energy drink aimed at like mothers and stuff. So that's from what I understand. Yeah, look at this. Look, here's the picture. It's a woman's energy drink brand, right? Look at this. $2 billion, huh? $2 billion to buy Alani. I don't know if I love that. That's a decent chunk of their market cap. They're definitely going to have to dilute to do this, right? Like there's no way they don't have 1.8 billion. They have $1 billion in cash. Okay, so they have to, I don't think they would use all their billion to buy this, right? Because they probably want to keep some money in the bank. So they're definitely going to have to use like Celisus stock, which would be diluting, at least to an extent. Yeah, Celisus down 9%. No, Street doesn't like it. I don't know if I hate it. I don't know if I love it. I mean, how much revenue does Alani do? I don't think we have those stats because they're not public, but if they're buying like a couple $100 million in revenue, is it worth paying $2 billion for that? I don't know, but the Wall Street Journal is reporting that, by the way. So I mean, that could be a fake headline, but it's from the Wall Street Journal, so I think it's probably not as fake. Nubank was down 8%. Now it's down 4%. Still red, though. Still red. And Block is not out yet. Block is not out yet. I don't have the numbers yet for XYZ. Rivin numbers were a beat on the top and the bottom. So 70 cents versus 77 cents EPS, and then 1.73 billion versus 1.43. That is also a beat on revenue. So they beat on the top and the bottom. We'll probably hear from RJ in a bit, but the stock right here is up about 2%, up now 3%. All right. So market's giving it some love. Block is down 2%. All right. So we might be getting those numbers soon. Mercado Libre is the winner right here, up 13%. Celsius down 10%. Nubank down 4%. Dropbox up half. InnoData, that small cap, up 20%. Looks like they had a good earnings. And then Bookings is up 4%. Texas Roadhouse down 1% as well. Block now down 3% right here on the day. Oh, here are the Nubank numbers. Okay, thank you for this. So revenue, 2.99 billion versus 2.76. EPS of 11 cents versus 12 cents. So it looks like they missed on EPS. They beat on revenue. But there's got to be a different reason for why the street's getting upset about it. It's getting kind of recovering. It's not getting hit that badly. 2.92% better than almost 10%. Celsius not really recovering. Rivin holding on. And then Block, yeah, there she goes. Block's down 5%. Oh, money market fund inflows. Yeah, let me check that real quick as well. Money market inflows. Okay, put it in the chat. What do you think? Increase or decrease? Put it in the chat. Did we increase or decrease on money market inflows? What do you guys think? I'll let you guys say that in chat, and then we'll look at this earnings, and we'll keep going from there.
Reporting fourth quarter results that did beat street expectations, John. 73 cents versus the 62-cent estimate. So a big beat there on its bottom line. Top line, a revenue of $644 million, which is also ahead of what analysts were expecting. The main metric to look here for Dropbox is annual recurring revenue, which came in at $2.57 billion. That's in line with the street. And I would also point out that paying users now at 18.22 million as compared to 18.12 million.
All right, money market funds decreased by 9.5 billion, 2 weeks in a row with a decrease. So the ones who said decrease in the chat, I think it was kind of 50-50 in the comments. We got a decrease. So last week we had 5 billion of a decrease. This week we have about 10 billion in a decrease. It's not really putting a drop in the bucket in regards to the 7 trillion on the sidelines, but 15 billion leaving money market funds. Hopefully going into the equity markets is what we got over the past 2 weeks.
Hey there, Morgan. Yeah, we got a revenue beat here from Live Nation, $5.68 billion. Street was looking for $5.6 billion. They are not giving EPS for the quarter, so we won't be reporting that one. But adjusted operating profit did beat expectations by $30 million. We're reporting in at $157 million. Also, just a little color here, concert attendance up. They said 4% year on year, and they're seeing robust demand and off to a strong start of the year for concert ticket sales. We see shares off just a smidge here, about 0.2%, guys.
All right, Steve, thank you. Tim, I want to get your thoughts on where consumers are spending money right now, because we've...
The consumer thing is something we're going to talk about as well, because the Walmart earnings is getting the street to get a little concerned about the consumer, which is why we had the decline today. By the way, Jason, I see you in the chat. I texted you the StreamYard, so whenever you want to join, you can hop on the stream. We will have Texas Thursday, Technical Thursday. I'm thinking of Texas Roadhouse. But we will have Technical Thursday with Jason today. Block is down 7%. Let me see if I can get these numbers on Block. That is not good. Block. I don't have the numbers yet. Let me see if I can try to get them. Down 8%. Steve's not going to be happy about that. Is Grab up after hours? Why are you guys saying Grab? Are we up? Grab? Yeah, it's up 1% after hours. Nothing too crazy, but it's up about 1% after hours. Grab numbers. Grab. Okay, here we go. So this is what we got on Grab. Or on Block, dude. There's so many tickers. There's so many tickers happening. This is what we got on Block. All right. Fourth quarter adjusted EBITDA, 757 million versus 741. Gross payment volume, 61 billion versus 61.2. That's a beat. They see adjusted operating income for 2025, 2.1 billion. Bitcoin revenue, they made 2.43 billion. Subscription revenue, 1.9. Cash App, 1.38. That's a miss. Net revenue, 6.03 versus 6.28. That's a miss. So that's a miss on revenues. Oh my God, Block's getting hit right now. And then transaction-based revenues, that's also a nasty miss, 1.68 versus 1.75. Adjusted EPS, that's also a nasty miss, 71 cents versus 89 cents. They missed on adjusted EPS. They missed on monthly transactive users for a Cash App. That came in a little bit below expectations. They missed on revenue, and then they missed on top line gross profit at 2.32 billion versus 2.38 billion. Yeah, Steve's not going to be happy about that one. Steve's not going to. We were talking about it last night. He was just wondering when Block is going to change directions. Block right here down 7%. Coca-Cola, yeah, I don't think we have earnings for them today, so don't have to look at that. Celsius getting a bit of a recovery. Matt had a good comment in the chat. Matt said maybe the street's reacting to the acquisition news, but we don't actually have earnings from Celsius, which I didn't see any earnings from Celsius yet either. So that could be fair. We might just have the street reacting to the buyout of Alani versus the actual numbers. And maybe there's a recovery once we get the numbers. Rivin still up 5%. Block down now 8%. Bookings up 4%. Dropbox down 3%. Texas Roadhouse down 1%. Nubank still down 6%. Not really getting much recovery. Block now down 9%. That's ugly, dude. That's ugly action. The acquisition news is Celsius is buying Alani, the energy drink. That's what the Wall Street Journal is reporting. I don't know, dude. Do you guys like this deal? Do you think it makes sense? I don't know much about Alani, but I don't know if $2 billion is worth it. I don't know. Maybe it is.
Mackenzie. Hey, Morgan. So Block shares are lower in extended trading after the company reported a miss on both the top and bottom lines. Revenue came in at $6.03 billion, falling short of estimates of $6.29 billion. Earnings per share were also a miss at 71 cents compared to the street's forecast of 87 cents. Now, I spoke with CFO Amrita Ahuja a short time ago. She says that the two metrics that investors orient to are actually gross profit and adjusted operating income. Block's gross profit for the quarter showed growth of 14%. That was in line with guidance. And from an adjusted operating income perspective, growth was well ahead of guidance and the street's estimates. Now, a key metric we were looking for, guys, gross payment volume. That was stronger than expected at $61.95 billion, beating estimates. Going into earnings, Square GPV had been decelerating for 7 straight quarters. Now, while CEO Jack Dorsey has expanded Block's product suite, rolling out a unified Square app and refining its go-to-market strategy, investors remain divided on whether these moves will meaningfully accelerate growth. Now, Morgan, I'm looking at shares down 4.5% right now. Back to you.
All right. Mackenzie, thank you. Meantime, Akamai earnings,
Okay, so someone says right here, Alani did $228 million in revenue in 2021. So $228 million is not crazy. Assuming that grew even 20 to 30% by 2025, I guess paying a $2 billion premium on that doesn't sound crazy. Still waiting on the Celsius results. Mercado Libre right here is up 13%. Celsius getting a bit of recovery from down 10% to now down 3%. Obviously, the Celsius CEO probably thought $2 billion is worthwhile paying, but I guess the consolidation of the energy drink market is something that is taking place right now. Remember that's 2021 for $221 million. By 2025, it's probably more than $221 million. So instead of 9x sales, hopefully it's more like 5x sales. But the question is, how much really did they grow from 2021? What is Alani? Alani is a woman's energy drink from my I think I've seen a couple of TikToks about it. That's why as soon as I heard the news, I was like, oh, I've heard of this drink before. But it's not like you're not going to go to your average 7-Eleven and find an Alani. I don't think. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think it's more specialized to find that type of stuff. Mercado Libre, 12 points. Wow, holy crap. 12.61 EPS versus 7 expected. That's a $5 beat on EPS. Either that's a tax thing or that's like legit. They just blew expectations out of the water. 6.05 billion versus 5.94 billion. I feel like this is a tax thing, dude. There's no way they beat by $5 a share. I mean, they must have cut expenses like crazy to be able to get those margins. That is insanity, dude. $5 a share. If it's not a tax thing, that's a real thing. So here are the highlights. 14.5 billion GMV. They sold 525 million items. Credit portfolio of $6 billion, net income $639 million, income from operations $820 million, and then net revenue was $6.1 billion. That's up 37% year over year. Holy crap, dude. 37% year over year. Bookings, let's take a look at bookings. Bookings is still up 5%. Rivian's up 3%. Celsius up 4%. And Block right here is down 7%. Let's bring on Jason backstage and get his thoughts on some of this early action we're seeing on earnings. Jason, what's up?
Yo, what's up, man? I'm happy about Meli, Mercado Libre. I don't know if you guys remember, but this was one of the like late Q4 in that December kind of dip right around the like just before Christmas. This was like the only thing I actually bought. So I am up like 45% on equity in the last couple months on Mercado Libre, and I'm happy, mostly because I was so sad about continually buying this freaking Robinhood dip, but I'm very happy about the Mercado Libre move right now. So,
dude, people are gonna call me a fake bull because I haven't been buying it, but you've been buying that hood dip, like,
bro. I don't remember last time I had like a position like this.
Well, we'll talk about it when we get into Technical Thursday, but you've consolidated a decent amount. What's your quick reaction on Celsius? We don't have their earnings yet. We're still waiting on that, guys. But
so initial reaction, just on a pricing perspective, it could have been a lot. It could have been a lot worse, right? I still had like the 20s, like sub 20s, maybe 19, something like that. It got really close to the target, but tomorrow, this is a miss, right? Is it a miss?
No, so we don't have the earnings on Celsius, but the reason they're down is because they're buying a energy drink company for $2 billion.
Which one?
So
was that the Alani one?
Question. Do you have a take on that? Yeah.
Oh,
I'll pull that up real quick.
That's really interesting. Because so if I go to Costco, I can buy the Alania stuff, or I can buy Celsius, or I can buy Rockstar, Red Bull, right? Alani. So these guys are in that same distribution channel, and this brand might have a better deal than Celsius has. So maybe they can piggyback on whatever that distribution deal is with Pepsi.
Do you think they're just going after women or something? Because it's obviously a women brand, right?
Why is it a women brand?
I mean, like, look at the website. They're using women in it. Dude, their drink is called Pink Slush. What guy drinks Pink Slush?
I mean,
everyone in the chat's gonna be like, Amit drinks Pink Slush.
Maybe Spencer might. I don't know. You know.
Yeah, maybe Spencer does. Let me get to RJ on Rivin. Let's see what he has to say, and then we'll keep going from there. Guys, we don't have Celsius earnings yet. We're gonna get it soon.
People are gonna have questions about. You're expecting to deliver between 46 and 51,000 vehicles. I mean, last year you delivered more than 51,000. Why the slight decline in 25?
Yeah, we've tried to capture our expectations around trade policy, consumer-facing tax credits, and incentives for purchasing electric vehicles into a comprehensive view of what we're providing for guidance for 2025. And as you've seen in what we put out in our quarterly report, we have a range that we provided. There's a lot of unknowns still in the system, and we're certainly building the resilience to respond to whatever ultimately happens in terms of trade policy and consumer credits.
What are you more concerned about as a CEO right now of an electric vehicle company? Are you more concerned with EV incentives, especially the manufacturing credit going away, or are you more concerned about the potential impact of tariffs?
Well, both ultimately have very similar effects. As we look at the automotive supply chain, there's a lot of content, especially as you think beyond just the tier 1 supply base, but into the tier 2 and tier 3 suppliers. A lot of those suppliers exist outside the United States. A number of them, given the multi-decade run for NAFTA, exist in either Mexico or in Canada. And so the impact of large tariffs on those is going to ultimately translate to higher costs.
Okay, we'll go back to that, but Celsius just went green. I don't have the numbers yet, but we got some green, up 2%. Maybe the numbers are good enough to avoid the Alani acquisition downside. And let's see if I can get these numbers here. Alani is a woman's brand founded by a woman, built by women all across the world. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking that it was a It was a woman's brand. Okay, don't have Celsius yet, but this is Block. Jason, any quick reaction to Block with a double miss right here?
I don't know if I have a huge reaction to it. I'm not, like, the price was kind of like, price action was a little concerning anyways. Before then, before we had earnings, seeing PayPal do PayPal's thing, I'm not really surprised, quite frankly.
Yeah,
Honestly, it's not like detrimental either. It's not good, but it's right back to, so the 200 days, like 73s was the last time I was like, okay, take a shot. And it got, was it 73s? No, I think I took a
we're getting a pump on Celsius, Jason. It's back.
Yeah. So when I saw that initially, when I said could be a lot worse. So when you see stuff like that, I'm like, it could easily recover on a very small little pivot down.
I think Matt called it. Matt said it was down from the acquisition news, but there weren't any earnings to actually bring it down yet.
There's no earnings yet. Yeah. I mean, if earnings, so here's the thing on Celsius. So for Celsius to really lock a bottom, what you're going to be looking for is you're going to be looking for a miss. You're going to be looking for a decent miss and the stock to go higher. So if you have, and that's usually like the staple moment when you have a bad earnings, maybe stock goes down slightly, but instantly back up, like the bottom's usually in. Doesn't mean it's going to go like rip back to 90. Look, I talked to a bunch of our people about Celsius. You don't go from 90 to 30 without leaving a lot of scar tissue out there in the market. So it's going to be a long recovery regardless.
Yeah, I guess for the people that got in at 23, 24, hopefully.
Jason Celsius. I might have to pick up an Alani now. I don't know. Pink slush.
Well, hold on. When I went to your office, he has a fridge filled with Red Bulls. There is no Celsius.
So. Yeah, it's all, you guys, I don't even know if you can see it. It's literally all Red Bull.
He's such a fake Celsius bull, bro. Like,
no, I ditched the Celsius a long time ago. When it lost 30, I was like, no, 31 couldn't get back over. We're out.
Guys, I don't have the numbers. If anyone has it, let me know. But there's no numbers yet. I'm
Keegan's trader.
I'm assuming the street has them, and that's why it's going up. But we don't have them yet. What are these other earnings? So Block is still down 7%. Mercado's up 13. Rivian's up 3. Nubank's still down 7.
What did RJ say? Did you get on how long they're expecting before they can turn? So there was a not profitable quarter, but narrowing the gap, I think I read, right? Did they have a forecast on when they're going to be showing profitability?
They didn't. Maybe he talks about it. Let's go back to Rivin, and then as soon as I get
that's the biggest thing, right? Like if they can give some clarity. Oh, that's RJ.
Yeah, as soon as I get Celsius numbers, I'll get it for you guys.
For us, which translates into pricing, and in a similar way as we think about consumer-facing tax credits, it effectively makes the vehicles more affordable for consumers. And so in both cases, they ultimately are going to impact demand, and they're ultimately going to impact the rate at which consumers shift towards electrification.
RJ, it's Morgan. I just want to dig into that a little bit more deeply. And that is, right now you sell your vehicles into the U.S. market, into Canada. I was reading that you have plans to sell into Europe as soon as next year. When you do look at something like trade policy, for example, how do you game that out in terms of a demand picture as you do expand into other markets more meaningfully?
All right, I have Celsius. Interesting. The street wanted 11 cents. They lost 11 cents. The street wanted 327 million. They brought in 332.
So it's mixed. I would have loved to see a miss on revenue and this price action. If it was a double miss with this price action, then the bottom's in. Hard call here. I think it's a longer recovery, but it's probably on the mend.
But it's pumping, bro. It's pumping,
dude. Okay, on your chart, do me a favor. Go to like a weekly time frame and zoom out and look left. Not 5 days. Go to like a year worth of data. Okay, next year yeah, okay. So is it pumping? I don't know, guys. Zoom out, zoom out, zoom out. Is it pumping?
Dude, it's so sad.
I'm just saying. Yeah, let's go. Let's go.
I mean, hey, bro, it's up 10% at least on the month or on the day.
Let's go.
Dude, maybe the poll has a chance of being right, and Celsius is the biggest winner today. Maybe.
No, but like zoom out again and look at that. So like I think that so here's what's true. Stocks make the biggest moves when they go from absolute dog crap to just okay. That's actually true. So if this is going to go from like absolute doo-doo to okay, maybe it could have a big move. It might even go to like 40s, which is another 30% from here. But even at 40, you're still looking at that same chart. It's going to be a long road.
Let me give a shout out to Bay Ray. He is
he definitely bought at 70.
He deserves his shout out. He's been bullish Celsius for a year or something. So
okay, that's cool. Like, but he's in for the ride, right? Be in for the ride. I'm just saying it's not necessarily a V recovery. It could be a good ride. Look at the Carvana down 99% to up exponential multi-thousands of percent. But the trajectory, like it takes a long time. Takes a long time.
But I think Bay Ray bought at like 23. If you bought in the low 20s, right? You got to be happy.
Oh yeah. No, you're making good money right now.
Yeah, it's almost at $30, bro. I mean, it's outperforming almost Mercado Libre. It's 1% away from beating that today. So far, bookings up 5%, Rivian's up 4%, Block down 7%, Texas Roadhouse flat, and then Dropbox down 5%.
I'm curious to see if Rivian holds some kind of trajectory. So Rivian, we know like it's at like 1180 or something has been the near term like trough bottom. But if it holds like 1250s, which I know is a lot lower than this, I don't think this is going to be a breakout quarter, but the bottom might be in for Rivian. I'm just saying, you guys, he doesn't like Rivian. I don't know. I don't know what it is.
I love the Cybertruck you showed me. That's why. But Celsius right here, it's actually so they beat. So I someone posted the wrong details. So they didn't miss on EPS. They beat. So
okay.
Good, right?
So if it's a double beat, we could see a skeet tomorrow.
I mean, it looks like the acquisition news plus a double beat is being rewarded for now by the street. Yeah, so someone just got the numbers wrong, guys. So they didn't lose 11 cents. They made 4. So they beat EPS by 3 cents, beat revenue by 3 million or 5 million. And Street likes it.
I really would have rather seen a double beat or a double miss and this price action. I'm just telling you guys, when you see that, that's like, okay, I need to make a mental note. Double miss, price action, it goes up, your bottom's in.
Well, it's up for now. For those in the chat that have been buying Celsius in the low 20s, congrats. Did it get to 19 at one point? I think it did. It got to the bottom was no 2110. 2110.
I don't think it did because I mean I might have at 19 I might have taken a stab, but I don't remember seeing it, so I didn't.
Then Rivin right here up 3%. All right, we're gonna finish the RJ interview for like 2 minutes, and then we will officially start Technical Thursday. Ooh. I'll officially roll the intro and we will get started.
Yeah. So we're launching our R2 product in the early part of next year, and I've never been as excited as I am for R2 as for any product. And it's the combination of performance, capabilities, attributes is just incredible. But what makes it so unique is for us is it represents really the first mass market product in terms of pricing. And that's enabled through a really heavy focus on cost efficiency and how it's designed. And importantly, the supply chain that we've sourced for this product. And what we've talked about publicly is the bill of material cost in R2 is expected to be about half of what it is in R1. And the non-bill of material COGS will be well under half of what we have in R1. So it really enables us to have a much lower price product. And that, of course, builds in, or enables, I should say, more resiliency to some of the changes that we could potentially see here.
Hey, RJ, it's John. Last quarter on the call, you guys said your lease penetration was 42%. How does it look for the quarter you're reporting now? And how does this environment with the consumer being in the state the consumer is in and the uncertainty around these credits affect that leasing customer?
There's certainly a lot of uncertainty, and the things we can control today are continuing to focus on driving cost efficiency in our plant, continuing to improve the product with every software update that comes out roughly once a month. So we see the product getting better and better and better, and then of course our focus on R2. The split between leasing and purchase is something that I would say we're not overly concerned with. We see that moving around. It's going to depend a lot on what happens in terms of tax credits and the overall approach to some of the previous policies that were in place.
RJ, I know you're going to begin R2 production in central Illinois next year, but ultimately, has your outlook in terms of when you look into the future, has your game plan changed at all in terms of ultimately opening up a manufacturing plant in Georgia?
No, and in fact, we get asked this question a lot around, how we think about electrification on long term. Our perspective is identical today as it was years ago, and that is that the entirety of the automotive world is going to convert to electric. The rate at which that happens is really dependent upon how quickly we as an industry can create lots of choice, lots of options for consumers. And in today's market, particularly in the United States, there's very few highly compelling choices. It's one of the reasons I'm so excited about R2 is that the market needs a highly compelling choice, highly compelling options. And with that, we do see significant demand. There's a tremendous amount of excitement for R2 and R3. And our Georgia facility has been architected and designed to support building all of those vehicles, the R2 vehicles and their variants, and the R3 vehicle platform and their variants.
Okay.
All right, so that's what we got on Rivian. Celisus right here is winning the day. It is up 20%. That's not bad. I mean, that's fun. If you're in Celisus, congrats. You deserve it. Up 20% right here. Mercado Libre is up 12%.
It's almost back to where I sold it. Look at that.
It's almost back to where you sold it. That's correct. Rivian right here is up 5%. Nubank
Ask me if I'm going to buy it.
Nubank still down 7%. Blocks down 7%. Texas Roadhouse flat. Dropbox down about 5%. And then Celisus above 20%, dude. It's going for 21%. Wow. Absolutely incredible. Shout out to Bay Ray. I gotta give him his props here. He's been like just hammering the table on Celisus. So there you go. Celisus right here up 20%. And
it's back to where I sold it officially. This is good. Good job.
There you go. All right. It is Thursday. It is not Tuesday, but we still have to roll the intro because we are having technical Thursday. It's not going to be as long as usual because Jason has to leave a little bit early, but given the volatility we saw today, we definitely have some technicals to go through. So without further ado, let's roll the intro.
We're back. Amit's gone. I'm here. Oh, damn it. I had it covered, dude. Don't worry.
Jason, how are you? It's been so long.
It's been forever.
Dude, so
did
Jason
you guys miss me? I missed you guys. That's true.
Yeah, Jason missed you guys. That's why he wanted to do this today. But we had a good time in California. We got to actually spend time together and go and travel and get some dinner and I'm assuming you're not gonna buy the Cybertruck, right?
It's too big, dude. It's too big. It's really weird. And so the one thing I didn't like about it was it was pouring the night of the meetup. Amit just has this uncanny ability to pick the absolute best weather and the place that never rains or snows. And it's pouring the night of the meetup. But the Cybertruck has one blade that's the whole thing. And it was just not sufficient. So that was probably the biggest thing. And multi-point turns, something about driving a $200 vehicle with in small roads. And you're I don't know.
Overall, it was fun.
I might like the Rivian. I might have to do Rivian. You never know.
No, you might have to do the Rivian, dude. It was fun to meet in person in general and just connect after, connect. It's like we were talking on Technical Tuesday because it was just we're we were online.
Yeah, you guys, he's the same person in person. It's wild. I was shocked. We were actually both like, dude, this is actually like hanging out like on our Tuesday shows. Like, yeah.
All right, let's get started. I think we got to start with Palantir. That's what everyone wants to start with first.
We can do Palantir, but there is one guy that did write his requests when I posted something. So can we do his after the couples?
Yeah, after Palantir.
He did props for the follow. How's that?
Okay, we'll do that one. B-Stop says no, he's not. Meeting him in person, he was shorter than I imagined.
You guys, I'm actually 2 amidst in real life.
Okay, I'm not that short, bro. Like
I didn't say that. I was talking like both in circumference and.
All right, so let's get into it. This thing was down 15%, kind of recovered. What are you thinking here?
So it's wild, right? Really wild. So we have seen moves like this, maybe not as egregious or as rapid either. And we've seen similar moves, not exactly of the same extent. I don't feel like it was of the same extent normally. But we've seen is the coolest Korean dude. Thank you, man. ZQL shout out. We've seen moves like this in Palantir in the past, right? I just don't, the velocity of it being, I think it was like 15% intraday was a little wild. Some of the ones that we've seen in the past were what? And we call them exhaustion, right? So down in here, when you have those big kind of moves, and then, yeah, so 12%. So we've seen 12% moves. It's just, you know what happens? This is an example of a 12% intraday. That's 15% actually, right there. So what happens for the Palantirians? Palantirians, right?
Called Palantards. Okay.
No, it's not called Palantards.
It's definitely called Palantards.
Admit.
That's what it is, bro. It is what it is.
Is that the net dollar changes are just much larger now because the stock is so much higher. So it's still, what you got to remember is like 15%, you know, on your 50,000 shares or whatever it is at some point, okay, maybe $10, something like that. It's not the first time to have happened. It's not going to be the last time to have happened. But I was shocked at the sheer like velocity of it because it being so many dollars. So it might be just an adjustment that people are going to have to get to. So that said, what we call this moment, we call it a kill candle. It doesn't kill the trend, it kills the momentum. So it's basically a form of exhaustion, just like this, after a big move to the upside. A little bit more gradual here, but this is coming back into really like that earnings moment. And this white line on my screen, that's the 20-day simple moving average. The fibs, these little lines up here, just so we know what that is, that's, I feel like this is not right. Let's do this again. So we're taking this. I guess it is. I think this is not going to be that. This is about a quarter of this move. Something's up with my extension settings. I don't know what
I gets us to 300, bro.
Yeah.
I don't think anything's wrong with your TA. TA looks pretty good to me. Celsius guys up 20%, $30 right now, 31.40.
I think this is fairly full is what it is. And it's just like a form of exhaustion, but here's where we are. So today, we had a little bit of a pullback now. At this point, I think it's really hard. So like when people ask me, like, is this a good time to buy crypto? And I'll liken it to that, as wild as that sounds. It's like, there's really not anything that's at a good price to buy in crypto because it's all up so much to me, right? So like if you're asking someone that has $8 like or $20 average in Palantir, it's like, this is a good time to buy long-term. You can't, there's no answer that's going to be like, yes, because it's, you never really know. All I can say is like, here are these moments in time where it's going to be back on the mend or it's not. Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
hopefully with that said, this helps a little bit. What we've done right now is that we've basically come back to that power earnings gap. So we say PG, like here's that big earnings move right in here. On this day, from that earnings move, we were looking, and who's going to do this at base? So 50% pullback of that one earnings day move. So if we were just looking at Palantir post earnings, it was 94, right? So this is the level. So this is the earnings move here, right there, the big beat. $94.20 in this area, give or take, would be like a decent discount post earnings. So remember, I'm keeping that in the back of my mind as we go forward. Obviously, this thing has just continued to go. Let me just take this replay off. But where do we actually land? Like really close to right there. So this was a discount from that last earnings quarter. I actually think, I don't want to say anything. So technicals do not take the fundamentals, PE, any of that kind of stuff into consideration. We don't care about that, right? There's two things that are going to happen. One, I need to find out as a trader at what point is this back in the mend. So these there's some shaded areas on my screen that you can't really see. So this is a shaded area. This is after market and pre-market hours in this box right here. So the low of yesterday ends up being 108.57. So we did not get above 108.57. Once Palantir is over this 108 level, and actually I can make this pretty clean, actually all the way across. There it is. So now we can start to see, all right, where is this point? And I'm using a 30-minute chart. This is my favorite time frame to find these kind of inflection points. Where are buyers stepping up and what are they doing, right? So we can see that here. We can see that here. We can see this big inflection point right there. So I think this becomes a big deal level. And at the same time, we see that right here, but also right here. So 108.50s, if you want to keep it like a little bit safer, you could say like 109s just in case. I could move 109. So 109, if you want to be a little bit safer. Oh, this is what? Damn it. 110.40, sorry, to be very specific. We're going to call this what we would call like a break of structure. So over 110, I think Palantir is firmly on the mend, right? At this point here, this is still this box that remains like a price of interest. This is very close to it. This is that 20-day simple moving average. If Palantir goes any lower, it doesn't mean it's like broken anything. It means it's in a breather, right? So they take like stocks take like these 30-day breathers, give or take. I'm going to liken this 110 level on Palantir to NVIDIA's 123, right? $3 trillion market cap for right now. If it's over 110, is back in the uptrend. Is that the greatest place to buy? Not necessarily. So I think as close to 95 as you can, maybe 90 would be the best place near term to see it hold. As long as it holds that, I think you're okay. If you're going below it, so Midwest is in 80, right? In the 80s. Look, if you're seeing Palantir 80s, you have discredited that entire last earnings report. And it's possible, but that's 83. And that's also going to line up with your 50-day simple moving average. What's true here is that 80 is not in the cards right now, as long as it's over the 20-day simple moving average. So this white line, it's going to, the trajectory of this white line, that's the 20-day simple moving. It's going to kind of flatten out, right? This is your 50-day right here. That's probably going to flatten out. 80 is not in the cards today, but if Palantir does something like this, or if it can't get back over that 110, then yeah, maybe this 90 doesn't hold short term, but it's somewhere in this area right here that you'd be looking for. If you firmly lose the 20-day simple it's very likely that you usually hit the 50-day simple moving average. I know this is a 30-minute chart, but for anyone that's new, I don't have my moving averages set to the chart view. These are always set to daily views. So this is a 20-day simple moving average. No matter what time frame chart I'm looking at, this is a 50-day simple moving average set to the daily time frame. So if that's the case, that's what you're looking for. But as long as it's over this 20-day, or right now over like 95s, that's not in the cards, and that's not happening, right? So if in the meantime, if you're back over this 110, 108 level, you're on the mend and you're heading back up. How far up, we don't know, but at least to 120s. That's true. Because you have right now, this is a news gap, right? So this is on when Amit tanked the stock himself. He actually went on Twitter and he put out a piece of news that like, hey, look, the Department of Defense is cutting the Palantir budget, which wasn't true, by the way, but he did it anyways.
Needed a better price, dude.
Exactly. He's a greedy motherfucker. But there's going to be a point where like, hey, look, the defense budget decreasing probably doesn't affect Palantir in my mind, actually.
Not at all.
If anything, it might even help it with like increasing Palantir spend, maybe because of efficiency stuff. That's just my
well, Jason, let me ask you this. So the stock was up basically 60% year to date. Do you think the street was looking for any reason?
Absolutely. It was weird. So I called him in. I was like, what did you do? Why did you tweet that? Because it was weird. It's the exact same time SMCI dumped like 10% immediately, all at this very weird time of day. So like clearly news driven. So what I'm trying to point out right now is that you as a market participant, retail market participant, you want to know when the market's deciding that this news event here was BS. That's it, right? And what's true is that if it gets over this 110 level right in here, then the market is going to call BS on that entire news catalyst knee-jerk reaction, and it's going to go straight back to 120 in very short order. So the levels that I'm showing you now are tradable, they're investable. But just the same, I don't know that it's going all-time highs again, but what's true is that if it's back over 110, the market's saying, all right, that pullback was BS. We need to take it back. We need to go back to where we were before. Does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot. So the level you're looking for is 110 to be in the clear on Palantir.
Yeah. Then you're in the clear.
What's the level we don't want to see?
That's a tradable level, short-term option tradable. Because it's going to be within 2 to 3 trading sessions that you're gonna fill that gap.
So below 110 is bad. Like that could lead to 90.
No, it's not bad because it's not breaking down. Below 110 is still we're deciding whether or not we want to call this BS. It's below like 95s that you need to get a little bit more concerned, because then you're going to see the 80s.
Right. Palantir is down after hours, 1.5%.
Slightly. So what I wanted to do is kind of like take a trip back in time on something like a Palantir, and let's look at some other down 15% moments, right? And I think this is always interesting. So it's not a one-day recovery, right? So this is a down 15% day. We call this exhaustion. This day, it really took Palantir a full week and a half before it started to recover. And even then, it didn't really get back up above it, right? It's got to fight it until finally you have a catalyst. So I think that when you have these down 15% days, this is kind of the trajectory. So that's why I'm saying if it gets over 110, I think it goes back to where it came from. So just like this, if this was the level, right? Something like here, this was your level. It's very like near term. Okay, it's going to happen. And it fills in this gap of where it came from. But does that mean that it holds it, or is it not vulnerable to the next headline? No, right? So it's still a valid. And in the meantime, below that kind of like pivot point here, this was the area that was better to accumulate anyways. It wasn't better to accumulate up here. It was actually down here. So as long as you're below those levels, I mean, if you're a long, and this is the difference between trading and investing. Trading, I need to know that the stock is going in my direction. Investing, I don't need, I just want to know that it's done really going against me. They're two different things. Hopefully that makes sense. You can get a better dip for investing, but trading, this is a short in terms of trading, because it's not, you won't want to be buying leaps or stuff like that necessarily down here. It's better like if you finally get your pivot, this is that 50-day. How often has Palantir given a 50-day this blue line? Not very often.
Not often, yeah.
Right.
Well, so hold on. So let me ask you this question. How do you philosophically think of buying the dip? Because we haven't really gotten many dip opportunities, but
I really thought about it, dude. I really thought about it.
But the thing is, we haven't gotten many dip opportunities, but everyone still knows the valuation is extended even at 100. So how do you compare valuation concerns with like an actual 15% drop?
Well, they're not comparable. Like that, this is mixing trading and investing.
No, I know that, but my point is, how do you think of it? Because at 100, you still think Palantir is extended in valuation, but you also think we don't get 15% drops often. So how do you weigh between those variables?
I do exactly what I just told you guys. So I wait, right? And I wait and I wait and I wait till the market shows me a sign that we're either in the clear or we're going lower. If you're a long-term, if you've held Palantir, if you have a $50 or lower cost base on Palantir, this is, I don't know that it's really, that's the thing for me. I don't know that it's a reason to dollar cost average here necessarily. Although one could say, look, you just gave me a discount on that last quarter and this AIP growth. And I think, and that's the only thing for me is like, even if government spending does kind of like take a chill pill for a minute, I feel like the growth is not really, the growth is an AIP to me, right? Like on the commercial side and that whole thing exploding. Like if that really goes, that's a whole nother, that's another line of business that could grow, that will grow 5-10x faster than government spending. Commercial spending moves 5-10x faster than government spending in that sense. So, I mean, does that mean it's expensive still? Yeah, it's going to be expensive, but expensive stocks get more expensive. Cheaper stocks get cheaper. That's also true if they're executing. So, I mean, if I saw it sub 90, I would probably be really considering it.
We got Mr. Derek Wall, who said he bought a lot of Palantir today.
There you go. I mean,
wow, he's back, baby. He's back in.
Here's my real problem. I bought too much hood. I'm like,
okay, can we transition to hood? Let's get into hood because we got to see what's going on here. Derek says, I will keep buying all the way down. There you go.
Yeah, so I am like Derek and Palantir with my hood. I don't have like a politically correct word in here, but I've completely obliterated my cost basis definitively. I would use a really nasty term if I could. But I've just absolutely wrecked it intentionally. So anyways, so this is where we are. I think so. Hood, on the other hand, look, they gave it all back. Great quarter, huge beat. This morning, I'm like, we literally, I'm getting the quarter for free. And for me, like Hood has not been like, it's never been what's the word? Something that I plan on selling anytime soon. I just like, it's about the generation, Gen Z, Gen Alpha. They're just coming into their peak earning years as people. And they learn, and I'm not talking about this generational wealth transition. Forget about that. I'm talking about just their peak earning years in Gen Z. They're going to go from making 50 to 500K in the next couple of years. And they all learned on Robinhood. And you see people like TJ who is trying to transition. He's pissed off at Robinhood, but it's a struggle. It's such a struggle to learn a new platform, especially something else that's going to be more like, look, that's a moat, man. They're not going to be moving. And this is just the beginning in terms of new products for Robinhood. I'm not going to sell it in my generation is what I'm kind of thinking for Hood. So, yeah.
So from a technical perspective, you think this is getting the quarter for free, and that's why you're buying?
Well, that's definitively. I mean, yeah, the price is. That's what happened. Like we actually got it for free. So now the question is the Jason
it was 17, Derek. Derek bought Hood at 17 to break a wall for us. So I think Derek has like a couple 100,000 shares of Hood. So he's been
oh wow, okay. Yeah. I'm rounding out my anyways.
Jason's not too far behind.
I don't have 100,000.
He's got a decent amount of Hood.
I might have close to half that, but for me that's a big position. So anyways, that said, so we do get this current quarter for free. Yes. There's no catalyst right now. So I know that we do need a catalyst for this to get excitement again. The question now is like, okay, does the market think that it's discounted, that it was even after this quarter, was this too expensive, basically, right? So from a technical perspective, this is a simple breakout and retest. So what I mean by that is that if this $53 level was that like overhead where they were selling in front of you, it finally breaks out, you're testing it, right? Breakout, you're getting a breakout here. This is called a breakout, right? You get a little test. So this is defined right now as like, this was that last cohort of buyers and sellers where price really got active. Spent a lot of time at this price and we saw a lot of activity. Today, this white line, again, 20-day simple moving average, that's usually a good like first level of like call it support, but having this line up with this prior cohort of market participants, it just made sense technically for me to take the shot anyways. And the thing is, like from a trading perspective, so there's trading and there's investing. You have to separate them because they're not the same. And they're actually, they don't mix. It's like oil and water, right? So from a trading perspective, listen, if this is below 52, it's going probably a little bit lower from a trading perspective. But from a trading perspective here now, this is a clean textbook breakout, retest. I want to see it kind of breathe for a little bit and then continue on its merry way. That's what I need to see. So right in here, this is that area from a technical perspective that I want to get long. From a fundamental perspective, I can just cleanly look at this and say, hey, look, this now is below what it was before it reported this last quarter, which by the way was an epic quarter. So I'm technically getting it for free. The only question as a fundamental person is like, well, was 55 overpriced or not, right? From a, like, I don't know, however you want to evaluate, value Robinhood. If you're like me and you're like, I'm not going to sell it in my generation, is what it is. But again, technically it's where I want to take a shot. How's that? No, so you take a shot right here. And if it goes lower, I did have that $45 level and that $50 support, which it's possible. But if it does go lower, then I have planned already like what I'm going to do, which is not to sell. it's to sell like sell like $50 puts for April if I can get them over $5, which would give me a cost basis around 45, which I think is more than I would love it at 45 if I got it, but
all right. So Derek said, I love Jason. So fucking smart. So Derek, we're going to give you the next pick. What's the next stock that you want to look at? I feel like he's going to pick Tesla, but maybe he surprises us and he picks a different ticker. So let's see what he says in the chat. By the way, guys, Celsius is up 33 freaking percent. Or sorry, it's at 30%. It's up $33.43 right now.
Now it's over where I sold it, but I'm not buying it.
It's a good one. It's a good one.
I might buy Lonnie.
You might buy a Lonnie.
Okay, but Raymond follows me and he put a post. So while we're waiting for Derek, I want to get to Raymond. So Raymond had Lulu, Axon, ARM, and TTD.
We can't do all of those at once.
I can.
No, we can't do all. That's like a rock. That's like a.
I can do a rapid fire.
No, Jason, I know you. Every time we do a rapid fire, you don't do a You spend like 1 trillion hours on one because you just talk like crazy.
Not doing it. So it's this purple line, 200 weeks, simple moving average. You have some confluence here. It's okay. It's not out of the weeds yet. This is very what we call distributionary. This does not look like people are buying this. I don't know how much Lulu Amit's buying lately, but I have not been buying any Ruru. This is called Ruru. And you're breaking this prevailing uptrend. So you want to see it, hold this and reclaim before it's back in an uptrend. Axon, it's pretty quick, dude, right? Oh, that's a double top. This might be overvalued. I don't know the valuation here.
This is a body camera company.
This is body cameras. It's very similar, right? Where you're getting ahead of earnings. This is probably the same defense budgets getting cut. I think there's a real situation there, but if it goes any lower, it's gonna fill into that 475, and then you can let it breathe and watch. So because it might get down to this 200-day, this red line is 444.
Okay, he said Tesla. You can finish yours, but Tesla. Of
Tessie?
course, I knew he would say Tesla. Tessie.
ARM is not quite there. So maybe 1, 2, 3 attempts. Maybe on the 4th attempt here, it's tight. It's tight. This is consolidation. So heavy consolidation on ARM. You don't want to see it getting lower. This is actually right in here. Very critical pivot on ARM. Literally today, 147. So a bounce here can take it back up to the 20-day towards the 160, but that's it. It's going to play what we call like moving average ping pong between that 50 and the 20. And that's why you guys hear me say that if you lose the 50, it's going to go to the 200. But that's that. So Tessie, I'm interested. So here's the piece. So we have lower highs, right? Lower high. We've locked in. Lower high. Lower high. Low, lower low. Yeah. Lower low. This is our last. And then I start to drill in. And when I'm going to drill in on this, it's going to be, this is that last lower high. So hear me out on this. If this 363 is the last lower high, when in technical analysis, we look for something called a break of structure. So I'm going to label that with this thing here. That's going to say, we're going to call it BOS, break of structure. I'm just going to make this a little bit bigger so you can see that break of structure. So if this was the last lower high, technically, and I do have a lower low, technically, I actually have a higher high in this area, believe it or not. But when I want to get long, and by the way, I had 350, I liked it. But what I want to do is I really want to get long on the next higher low. Can you guys see these letters? It might be a little small.
Yeah, we see it.
But if this is the last low, usually I want to go back over and I want to find the low right before the last low. And I have two levels that are kind of popping out at me. So one's here. Oops, I don't want that tool. And this is a little, we're going to call this a price of interest. And really, I think it's this right there. So this is the last daily low, intraday low. Because this looks like, this is probably the low. And so this is 1 day session, actually. Wow. This is 1 day's death blow session right there on Tesla. Believe that? That's 1 day. Oh God. So this is a 1 day death blow session. So the low before that low is here. I haven't done this yet, so I want to see.
That's like 345, right?
Oh my God.
What?
Are we there?
Are we where?
We are, so see this dashed line?
Yeah.
That's 347. That was my 350 anyways. That's interesting. So what I say is we have something now. We have, this is called equal lows, right? So this is a price of interest. But between here and really here, we have like equal lows.
Equal lows or what? How do you define equal lows?
You could call it a double bottom
Okay.
from a technical perspective. So a double bottom is not, it's not, people can misconstrue this as bullish. What it is there's 4 different types of market participants. There's like, or 3, right? There's like bulls, there's bears, and there's a cohort of people that are just not participating. So let's call them not bulls and not bears, right? So there's bulls, there's bears, there's not bulls and not bears. So this is not a bear. These are not bears. So what I don't see is I don't see people buying yet. So the bulls are not here and the bears are not here. So we're actually, because we have not bears, we have consolidation, healthy consolidation. So if this area holds, man, as a higher low, which was, even if this is lower high here, and you can lock this in as a higher low. So I would say this higher low, I'm actually going to put this right here. Boom. I'm going to call this my buy zone. So this is a price of interest anywhere in here. So because I don't know that it's really out of the woods yet. So this is still around that 350 level that we've been talking about for a very long time.
So
now
the buy zone is 335 to 350 essentially.
337s. Yeah. So it's this, it's in this day, this February 12th day. As long as the low of February 12th holds, like if this low holds as the last low, that means I want to get long on a higher low after a break of structure. So we just talked about what is a break of structure. That's when you have a series of lower highs and lower lows. In this case, a bearish structure is broken by representing a higher high and a higher low. So right now, so lower high, there's no continuation here from this day. It's still a lower high though, but then we broke that and we made a higher high and we've locked in a double bottom and a potential higher low. But it's not out of the woods yet because we're not extending higher. We're not getting that full-blown full court press out of Tessie. So I'm going to give you 2 levels once again. So a level of interest is in this box, which is below, just below 350, right? Just below 350 down to 337s would be an area of interest. I'd say that if this low is going to hold, it can come down as low as this and a long is still valid. Does that make sense? And if I pull this back, this makes a lot of sense here too. So this is that last area I really want to look at. So this is November of last year, before post earnings, right? So post earnings and post election. Is this the election move? One of these are. I think this is like the election ripper.
Yeah, 270 to 320 was the election. And
the election follow through, right? So this area becomes a very big area of interest. And we can see on the right-hand side of my screen, this is called the volume profile. Where's price spent the most time at and the most amount of trading? It's literally right in here. So 350s down to 341. Again, like back to my last comment of like, if this is a breakout, so we have a breakout, right? And a retest of said breakout. This one happens to slightly breach that last area of supply right in here, but we had we did have this, look at this, 320. Oh my god, did I miss this? I don't think I would have missed this. Did I buy this? And did I send this? Did I send this, guys? What the fuck? 320. I think I bought this. I don't remember. So 320, there was what we call a session gap, where there's actually no trading in here. So this is an inefficiency in the market structure price action, right? In the structure of the price. So when the stock actually gaps up and there's absolutely no trading, this is an inefficiency, right? And so price tends to fill those kind of real inefficiencies. I have aftermarket hours turned on, you guys. If it's like if I turn in to just regular trading session, these things happen all the time. I don't count these. I only care. I turn on after hours trading. If it's traded in these, then it traded there. So I don't count that. What I'm looking for here when I look at actual session gaps is a true, like a real gap in the session where there's absolutely zero trade that went down to 320. And I swear to God, look at that. Boom. 320 to the penny. That inefficiency is filled now. So we can kind of be on our merry way in terms of healthy consolidation. What we want to see here is what's called accumulation. And that means that this can go sideways for like another few weeks. And so I think sideways price action is actually super healthy here. We want to start to see accumulation happen, and it'll happen like this. So it's not a today play. It's not a this week play. It's probably not even a next week play. But it's more like accumulate if you see it in this area under 350.
So you like it here? I mean, below 350, you like it?
He's my second largest holding.
So Hood's number one now. That's
It's
wild.
been number one for a minute.
Hood and Tessie are number 1 and 2. I like it.
Yeah.
All right, cool. That's what we got on Tesla. Can we do SMCI? Because people are asking about that one.
Yeah, so I think so this red line, this is a 200-day simple moving average. I don't like to trade things that are really close to the 200-day simple moving average personally because it gets wild. So we saw this big cohort of sellers here, and I think we are firmly above that. Right? I remember hearing that this is a one-person show doing this this accounting situation. Amit says I'm wrong. I'm happy to be wrong if I am.
I don't know if there's literally one person doing their.
I heard there's literally one person that's going through all their books.
BDO is an accounting firm. How would it be one person?
Yeah, I didn't know. I heard it was like their CFO or something. So I heard wrong, hopefully. So this can get wild. It looks rough, but I would not. If you're long, this is a stay long. This is a stay long. If you're looking for new money long, it's a term you guys might not use that often, but new money long is not necessarily here. It's more below this on a big red day, down to like sub 50 again, and wait for it to pull back up and go through. Because whenever anything gets close to this 200-day, this is an example right in here. Things get really choppy, and like it can look like, oh, you're going back over, but you're really not, right? It doesn't matter what stock you're looking at. It's just breaching back over. You need to have like that inflection point. Tesla's a good one where it just goes up, down, straight through a lot of times. If you look in the past, like you get, so here's a good example of like why I'm not like super into trading when it's over the 200-day, because you can get this blink and it comes right back under, which happens just to be a buy anyways before it continues on. And then it gets magnet pulled right back into it, you know, after you think you're in the clear, but you're actually not. So they're really choppy moments in time. Choppy. This is choppy, right? Where you think it can get through. This is why I don't really use SMAs as like actual dynamic support and resistance. Look at this, choppy. So this is typical trading around a 200-day simple moving average. What's true on SMCI is that you're getting a squeeze. You've already gotten a squeeze. It's already happened here, right? So we talked about when simple moving averages are starting to expand, we're expanding. This is the 20 and the 50-day right here. That's the bigger one, which signified like, hey, this was going to happen. You get these big moves. It can continue on, but a dip can be violent and buyable. Dip can be violent and buyable. 49 is that retest right in here, which again seems like a long ways away, but this thing is up so much. I think you have to the 25th right?
5
25th.
days to the 10K. Yeah.
So this is an example of buy the rumor. Right now, you have bought the rumor. You're getting really close to the news. You have NVIDIA earnings and you have your 10K filing. The question is, did you already get the move? I thought we got a big move already. And at this point, if you're still long, what's your upside target? I think that's a good question.
Some people are saying 70, 80 is where they
Yeah.
think.
It's right there. It's so this is exactly where you are, right? You're looking right in here, 70, right? This is that last breakdown area. I can tie this back to these guys that were trading right here. So again, I could use my trusty 30-minute chart, but just because I'm going back further in time, it's a little easier to see it. So you can clearly see it right here. You see that? Where this was prior support. And that's what you're looking for. So you're looking for areas that, like, if you're going back up, you're really just trading up to these inflection points where prior support and or resistance was right here. So this area is it. You have another one at 62. I'm just going to mark this, which has this little, it's not strong. Okay, but that's what you just ran into. So you just ran into one. Dude, I think you might be done. So technically, we're going to call this a fair value gap. Sorry, I saw this cough. Where you got these big candles here. So is this the when they were getting pulled from the NASDAQ? Late August?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So, well, I'm just going to tell you right now, you've made the move. And you've made the move because from a price perspective, you are literally today right back to where SMCI was before all this shenanigans went down.
Yeah.
From a price perspective. So you've round tripped already. Anything extra from here is got to be icing on the cake.
Yeah.
But technically speaking, fundamentally speaking, you have recovered.
That's a good point.
Pattern complete, mission accomplished. Congrats, take a victory lap. So if this was a trade, what you do is you take all your principal out, if it was a trade, and then and you leave runners on to continue to run, and that's it, right?
Yeah, and I mean, I took my profits a bit early, but nonetheless.
No, but that's because you only know how to fully enter and fully exit.
Yeah,
you haven't learned the other piece yet.
And I could have sold 2, kept 3, yada yada, but I chose not to do that. But you're right. I mean, if you're up 3-4x on calls because the underlying's up double, maybe take your initial.
No, ours, well, I think you'd be like 500%, maybe.
I mean, I would imagine you're up a decent chunk if you're in short-term calls.
Short-term, you're up 1,000%.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. That's what we got on SMCI. Can we do Rocket Lab?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So Matt, as a good example. So how you play this, if you had short dated options, you take those down completely, and then you leave long dated options on, just like Matt, right? So if you had short dated options, congrats, take a golf clap, round of applause, whatever, you won. And then you leave your long dated stuff on and you get to play. But other than that, look, you're really close. You almost hit your upside. If $70 was your target, you're basically there. You got your prize before you actually had to do anything. We'll see if even if they do come out with it, it might be a sell the news event. We'll see. But anyways, sorry.
Rocket Lab, and then we'll do NVIDIA.
So I bought a little Rocket Lab today.
I sold puts at 22. Do you think that's a good technical level?
Anything under 25, 24, I think was fine. So technically, we were this was that. So back to we talked about it. I think I said, I had $25 limit order anyways. And there it is. So remember that Tesla gap? So this is one where there was a hard gap in the stock price, 24.30 session gap. right there. If you have a hard time seeing it, I'll just take all these lines off. No trade whatsoever. Remember, I have extended hours on. So an inefficiency in the stock price here, 24.30. That's exactly where we got to today. So I think it is likely to take a breather. Thing is, it's run really hot into this last earnings. So here's your last earnings right here. It's running. You get a little bit of profit taking. Just because this is a gap doesn't mean it's going to hold definitively. But when I draw this across, this is actually a decent level in general. 21.30 was that prior all-time high level. That's like really what I'd have my eyes on right here. 21.34. That'd be great. But I think, again, this comes down to your thesis, right? So which means your time horizon of how long you plan on being on the stock. Earnings are going to demolish any technicals that I have, right? So essentially, we want to look at this last earnings call here. And so this is where they were when they reported. That's 14 and change. If we have earnings and it comes back below 21 and starts to head into this $15 range, like then you're getting the last 6 months essentially for free on the stock, which is unlikely to me unless the story changes. So you'd have to want to you'd want to listen to the story in the thesis, right? Like in the call, does the story change? Like, does it change your investing thesis? But I don't think it does right now. And so right here, this is, again, I look back and I look left, see where was a lot of movement happening, right? A lot of battling between the bulls and the bears. It's right here, 23, it's just under $24 and that session gap. So I think we got really close to it today. So it was worth a shot, having come in quite a bit from 33 down to 23. I mean, that's a big haircut. Near term, I think this is your profit taking ahead of the quarter. And then if this is to serve as a near-term bottom, then by next Thursday, between now and next Thursday, you should get a little pop, small one into the 28s, but then it's decision time, right? So if you wanted to oversize before earnings, I think today was the day. You could get a little bit of a pop to trim those if you're trading. But otherwise, if you're long-term, today is probably a day to like nibble, no more until after earnings, and then wait your 3-day rule after earnings to see where it digests to finish your positioning. So you did the same on Redwire.
Yeah. We got to so Jason has a buddy who actually manufactures parts for Rocket Lab, Redwire, et cetera. We got to see the factory, and it was pretty cool to see them actually.
Oh yeah, you like that? Those machines, I haven't been over there in I was just weeks, and they've added so many machines. I'm like, holy crap.
Dude,
each one of those machines, I mean, is like $1 million. It is crazy.
But we forget Redwire and Rocket Lab have all these subcontractors that have to actually build the shit that goes in the rockets, right? Like,
yeah. So we see like the orders coming in. Redwire is ordering a lot more right now, but I think they also added a different business unit too, than Rocket Lab for sure. Our guys love working with the Redwire team more, so they don't have to edit stuff. But I'm sure it's not like we're Redwire or Rocket Lab's only supplier.
Can we do NVIDIA?
Oh yeah.
Which has done a round trip from deep.
Yeah. So remember it's a clean gap. So we call these I call these session gaps. Remember, I have these after hour earnings turned on. You guys are loving it. I can't, someone like June's in there. She's like, I'm learning how to do these gap things. Right. But here's the deal. You fill a gap and it usually stops and then it takes a breather. So on this day, Tuesday, February 18th, I know, February 18th, the gap was filled and DeepSeek, the DeepSeek dive was called BS by the market. And that is what you saw in the price action. What's weird about this is that the others, my Aristas, the VSTs, Astera, they made this move first and faster, but it was not sustained. So those guys got hit since they had their pop and they've come back down again. I don't want to see that with NVIDIA. I don't think it's going to happen with NVIDIA because you have a catalyst still, which is earnings, of course, next week or the 25th. So between now and then, I think you could get one more press, but it's not really out of the weeds until you get to 142s. You're going to hate me for not having like a big, nasty target on this, but it's really just going to be the actual DeepSeek 146 intraday fair value, which is it. I mean, I guess above that you do have one more, but it's not. I think it's one step at a time. That's 151.
Do you think the earnings is going to be the catalyst that takes it back to all-time highs?
Yes, if it does. Otherwise, the truth about this chart right now is that it's pretty stagnant. It's not in a downtrend. It's not really an uptrend either, because what we have is we have a series of lower highs here.
Oh yeah, we have GTC coming up. I forgot. We have that too.
What's that?
That's the NVIDIA conference.
Oh, there you go. So you need a catalyst for sure. I think you're back in this trajectory. Oh, it's tight. So I just took these angle things. I'm not really like a major, and you got to trade them real, but it's holding the lower end here. So I think it's stuck. It's not going to be until, like I said, anyways, that gap at 142. If you have a daily close and open, so first it has to close above, and then it has to open above and hold over 142. Then in short order, you should probably, even in that day, right, see 146s. Literally just like that. And then after that, you could get like another little pop. This is all post earnings. Like, so if this doesn't happen during earnings, then this might happen all in one shot on the day of earnings. But until then, I think it's kind of stuck in this box until it really gets out of the way.
I think it would be really upsetting if they tank after earnings, because the DeepSeek thing was a stupid reason to tank. But if they miss earnings or miss guidance, and then we get back to 120, I don't think it's as easy to come to the 140s, because that's a legit reason.
Yeah.
Right?
So I think it might be neutral. Like, it might not move on earnings.
Yeah. The implied volatility has been like 7 to 8% past couple quarters. Like, it's moved, but it hasn't, at least from what I remember, dramatically went up or down.
So February 20th is it's definitely, wow. They've got these juiced all the way to April. These slimy market makers.
By the way, Ryan Cohen, CEO of GameStop, disclosed he owns 7 million shares in Alibaba.
Of course. Yeah. So like NVIDIA's not been, look at 0.5% last quarter. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I mean. It doesn't move that crazy.
It has.
It has
but it's been getting from this last 16%, 9, 6.
It's been lower.
Yeah. So I would not be taking a directional bet personally on NVIDIA this quarter. I might actually take a neutral bet if I could get paid enough.
Yeah. Okay. Can we do SOFI?
Ooh. 15 still. All right. So we have something to look at. So we're still here. I don't know. Where's my?
I feel like the 13-14 put on SOFI has been relatively safe. For the past
Yeah. It was looking like it was really going to try, but it couldn't hold 1660. So I think you still have some earnings, like whatever, to get through. But this is SOFI, double beat, double skeet. But it just took It's taking its time to recover. It's below like the key moving averages. Yeah, I actually am more constructive here, quite frankly. So what I'm looking at right now.
Is this going to 30 by the end of the year, Jason?
Oh, dude. Is that what you want to know?
I mean, that's the real
I need to call my friend Miss Cleo. If I call Miss Cleo, she might tell me.
Dude, you are Miss Cleo for guys, basically. Like, it's all astrology anyway.
You guys know who Miss Cleo is?
Yes, we know who Miss Cleo is. I get that reference.
You should not even supposed to know.
You are Miss Cleo for.
Is she in jail? So I think she went to jail. So anyways, this little area right here in the 15s, we talked about 15 for a while, right? We're looking at this. I want to see some accumulation in this area here. And we did. And we have a clean breakout out of the 15s all the way up to 17s, which it was going to give you some trouble, right? Because it's here's your earnings move. It's right into that bear zone retracement. So this is a golden pocket retracement, but I did it from left to right going top down. So this is where the bears are waiting. You know, there's a saying in trading, a good bull knows where the bears are going to be waiting. And that's where they were waiting, like literally right there. They're still waiting, right? So the bears are waiting just over 17 bucks. In the meantime, look at this. We create this little box. So if you want to sell these $14 puts and stuff like that, I think you can. Does it go a lot higher? I think from an equity perspective, even from here to here, that's 10%. It's probably the box that it's trading in. I expect this to end up being, so we have a lower high here, lower low, lower low, lower low. We definitely have a higher high. So again, from a market structure perspective, where would the higher low, where's the lowest point that a higher low can show up is literally 1480. So it got really close, dipped right into this area. I think this holds. This area should hold. If it doesn't hold, then obviously we're going lower. But this is an area where, like, it's an area that, look, we got a lot of interest here. And it's held today. What's interesting today is that we've been seeing, you looked at something called money market funds.
Yeah.
So I look at something like, I look at like flow, like market internals, like this is really ugly to look at. I don't have it on this is not the right view. Flatten. Yeah, I'm going to have to look at it a different way. I'm not going to pull up Thinkorswim right now. Actually, I can. So this box, one box. I'm going to do something called VOLD, VOLD, which is an internal metric. So like it's net flows, inflows and outflows together. So net inflows plus, or net inflows minus net outflows.
For the stock market?
Mm-hmm. This is for NYSE, for the NYSE. So if you didn't know this tool, these are something called internals. But what you're looking at here is it's interesting because, so this is net inflows, net outflows. When we see like net outflows getting weaker, so big net outflows, you see outflows actually getting weaker, that's a sign we're like, okay, we probably at some kind of capitulation. And then boom, you have this big old one. And what you're looking for is like, does this continue to go higher? I have a zero line right here. And then eventually it does, but it goes a little too high. You open it zero again, and then you go negative. But a day like this, big negative outflow, followed up by another outflow day, but it happens to be less. So less of an outflow day. This is capitulatory. Then you get followed, boom. So the reason I'm talking about this is because when we came into yesterday, this is yesterday right here. Very weird. So first warning sign, inflows major. But the second day, this is Tuesday of last week, inflows were still heavy, but they were less than the day before. This is usually capitulatory. Yesterday itself, all we had all day long, this is net outflows. But the market was going up. So when I was texting you, this is what I was looking at, is I'm like, dude, Amit, this is sus, right? Like it's sus because I'm seeing flows come out of the market, yet the market was going higher yesterday. But this was telling me that money's coming out of the market. I knew it's not going into cash because we would see dollar flying. It wasn't even going into safety because staples weren't doing that great. It's going into rotational stuff. It's going into value, actually, healthcare, things like that. First of all, that's a good sign for the market. It's a healthy market. If you see cash going, like if you see money flying to cash, that's not good. But if it's rotating from growth to value, we're balancing out. But so yesterday compared to today, again, we have net outflows, but the outflows were a little bit weaker today than yesterday. Does that make sense? So what I'm looking at is like, if we have a green day tomorrow, that could be it. And we could be back on the mend. But it's a little close to calls. We don't have any of these kind of like capitulatory, like major outflow moments yet. So it's interesting as we are, because we're not seeing big flushes like this. We're clearly not seeing major inflows either, but the weakness in the flows of the market, this is not like money market funds to you, but like in the NYSE specifically, it's not as bad today as it was yesterday. You can look at this on like NASDAQ, VOLQD, they're different, right? So this is NASDAQ. This is an outflow day, right? I hadn't looked at this today. But the outflows on the NASDAQ actually pretty close to that. So yeah, it's one of the, like, don't get much lower. So if we start to see inflows start in at some point tomorrow, we could be nearing a bottom. Anyways, sorry.
Oh, I think that's really good. I didn't even know there were tools to kind of get that information.
Yeah, people like Yuval is another measurement, NYSE up volume. So it looks like this. Yuval, Dvol is down volume, right? But it's Vol D is Yuval. I don't know why it's showing up like this on my screen. It's up volume inflow minus outflow.
So to wrap up SoFi, you think it's a buy right here?
Yeah, I think that a lot of things are kind of like near-term bottoms. And you want to see them kind of like stabilize. They can go slightly lower, but you don't want to see a lot lower. If that makes sense. So I think today is probably a prime example of more of sell puts day than buy calls day, where the not bears are really showing up, but we don't have a lot of bulls yet.
Okay, can we do grab?
Dude, you guys, Amit is just having a hell of a run lately. See, first he gets hit with Palantir, then it's starting to pull back everything that we just got, and then he gets grab.
Did someone tweeted? They were like, they tweeted Palantir, Grab, and Hood being down 10%. They're like, has anyone checked on Amit? How's he doing?
like,
yep.
Yeah, all of our sentiment exactly. Look, so I think we're right back where we started. I think you've done a good job about keeping, the party in check. Since guys, yesterday he canceled the party altogether on Grab during the earnings call. But if you're nothing's broken in the chart, that's what's true. Nothing is broken in the chart. We're literally right back to where we were a couple of days ago. No harm, no foul.
Yeah, that's the thing. It was a good quarter. It was not a great quarter, but it wasn't a horrible quarter. The problem is the expectations on these random people on Twitter that wanted it to go to $10 because they see a $5 stock thinking.
I thought you paid all those guys to do that.
No, I did not pay them. I still don't know how the hell Grab went viral, but the point is the expectations were way too high. And for people like myself that are expecting 10 in 2 years, it was a good quarter. It wasn't a great quarter, but it definitely wasn't a horrible quarter. And that's why Citibank and Bank of America upgraded them today.
So I think, the last time we took this trajectory, so Grab is a sub $10 stock. You really want to focus on a daily time frame. This was the view really that I was looking at. And when I said, okay, the chart's ready like to go higher, it was this, right? And go back, you can watch our technical Tuesdays if Amit ever decides to make it a playlist. It was literally in to fill this area. And that's, you actually got a little bit better than that, I think, but not a lot. So now you go back into the breathe mode, right? So you're still you're doing exactly what the chart said it was going to do. Now you just kind of let it breathe. So what you want to see is that 450, 65 level. This area here holds, right? So it can come in. This is 3-day rule usually, at least for someone like me. This is between 465 and 435. That's where you want to see it hold. And then eventually this area gets filled in and you're still on your merry way. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But that means it's not a tomorrow thing.
It's not a tomorrow thing, but ultimately the trajectory of the chart that we looked at a couple weeks ago is pretty much intact.
Unchanged.
Yep.
Completely. It's not until you lose like a 430.
Yeah, I agree. Even a fundamental perspective would agree with that. Yeah. Yeah.
But it's Singaporean.
Yeah, the lows were 445, and that was early January. So, if we lose that level, something's going on, but I don't think the earnings would justify getting that low.
Yeah, so you have to have the Twitter, FOMO chasers exit stage left, which actually that event may push this down a little bit lower than it should.
Right.
Which might present you a buying opportunity in near that 450.
Okay, Jason, do you have to leave in 12 minutes?
I know you do.
No, I don't. I'm making sure wifey doesn't get mad at me.
It's not wifey, it's grandma this time. She's actually helping out.
Okay, so 12 minutes, right?
12 minutes, yeah. Let's do it.
All right, so we have 12 minutes. We have a few stocks left. We're about to get a ton of tickers in the chat right here. I want to do all of them, but it's up to you. You take your time with however many you want to do.
Well, I know I'm seeing HIMS left and right. So HIMS 35% short interest. I think, $70 was my level of like, it's going to get real nasty if it holds 70. But at this point, I don't think that the shorts are covering. They're not, because they have earnings. It's just going to come into earnings, guys. There's nothing I could do about this chart, quite frankly, but it's a huge win. You've got the short squeeze. If they do have a banger earnings, I don't think it's that expensive from a PE perspective or a price to whatever. It could be your next GME. It might have already been your next GME.
HIMS is your next GME? Wow.
Oh, it's setting up for that for sure. If it's actually trading over 70, it's going triple digits, Miller. It's gross.
All right, let's move on. We got other tickers. Freaking let's do Meta.
Meta, I think so if tomorrow is a bleeder day, Meta could be a short, my dude.
I feel like Meta is gonna fall and join the Mag 7 in the doghouse, but so far.
Well, so today is a critical day for Meta. It actually lost the 20-day simple moving average today. I actually took this short today. And again, if we have a red day tomorrow, this is from a trading perspective, day traders perspective, I'm going after Meta. Not because I don't like it, I own it, but I also, as someone who owns it, I also know that look, it's likely to come down a bit, right? So the real big, so this blue line is this prevailing uptrend. I think you're okay in general. This is for a short time, not a long time, right? It's not a big deal. But where this puts this is like a really good retest. You guys are gonna freak out. I don't know. A really good retest is 635s. I hate to say it.
No, you're right though. That would be a really good retest.
It really would be, and I would be like, this is what's concerning me, because I'm looking across, I'm like, dude, okay, there's a lot of stuff I'm gonna want to buy soon, like real soon, if these things happen, but I want to buy my hood right now. Like, damn it. So here we are, right? So here's your earnings thing. In reality, I don't think it goes below 675. So in reality, I think, you take this earnings calendar, half of that, I think we see a big pivot, 675. That's my first area of interest, quite frankly, somewhere in here. So I like it right in here underneath 685, which means that you got at least $10 to fall from here. So somewhere like around 675, I think it's really interesting. But if it doesn't hold 660s, then I know it's going to 636. But in the meantime, I'd really love to see it hold here, right in there, and then kind of just go sideways, quite frankly, and digest this massive move. So I like that. If it's below that in here, 664 to 635, I'm like, oh, all right, I'm in. But the problem is that I have too much head and I don't want to sell any. So
okay, I got to move you on, Jason, because we have some more. AMD. I'm gonna have you on like a minute per ticker, and then we just because
AMD's not ready, dude. So it's another lower high. It's just another lower high. You're getting squeezy, but look, a good bull, guys, knows where the bears are gonna show up. And your boys, the bears, are right over here. So if this thing loses 112s, it's not done going down. You need a lot of time here.
Okay. Archer.
Was this moving today?
Kind of down today.
It's squeezy, man. I think you get a pre-earnings pop. Is this a buy, Amit? Is this one you're talking about?
No, I don't. I sold some puts on it, but I closed those puts already. So I don't know if it's a buy anymore.
The thing is, if the market's going to rotate into more value for a short period of time, it might not be in. That's what I saw today. I don't know that stays. Look, growth is always a thing that you want. So the value rotations, honestly, they're temporary conditions. If this gets hit, it could get hit in a big way. And that's probably a buy in the 7s.
Okay, Coinbase.
So Bitcoin's coming up right now around 98. I don't think it's a long. I actually think Bitcoin's more short. So I'm referencing Bitcoin right here because you're right at the top of value. This could pull back. This is an example of like, look, a huge quarter, but the stock didn't like this. When you trade news, things like that, if you have a great headline, but poor price action, it's a short. It's a short if you have great news, but poor price action. If you have horrible news, like if I was saying Celsius is going to bottom, if Celsius is a double miss and the price action is good, it's a long. We have a great quarter, horrible price action. The market doesn't have an appetite for this bad boy right now, but it's at an area of interest. I'm not interested enough, not until I see like 240s, 230s, honestly. I think it's going lower, but it's, again, you don't want to press it here because it's not a good news short. I think if you bounce around this area, if this is the last low, the low before that low is 247. Again, slightly lower. As long as it holds 247, that's cool. It probably goes back up to 280s, 290s, but the market didn't. Love
Amazon.
It. 222 was an area of interest. 222, it's there. It's interesting. It's not a ready to roll. Nice quarter. This may be closer to ready than some of the rest. Nearly. So
I've been surprised that it's actually taken a beating, to be honest. But
I mean,
it ran a lot from December, so I get it.
Yeah, I think Mercado Libre having the quarter that did, it might be really interesting to see. It means that they're kind of taking Amazon's lunch in that area, but you know, how much room is left for Amazon? It's okay. It's okay. If this is the last low, the lowest area is like 216s. But you're definitely in an area of interest. I think it's a long for the year. I think it's good for the year, but yeah, it could go a couple dollars. This is fine for a starter. I think you got 3 big red days. You want to have a flat day, and then the day after that, if it's up, you're good.
Baba.
Dude, I took her short today, man. I took her short today, brother. Yeah.
You're shorting the CCP?
Well, no, I just took it short today as a day trade. But like, which by the way, crushed it like 300% day trade. Anyways, could you imagine from here to here? Choo. I don't know. Baba's never traded on fundamentals. I don't think it ever will. It never has. If you do think it does, then you're probably missing the story, or at least a big piece of the story in Chinese equities. That's just me. So the pivot here is like 137. It could go. This is the hard ones. Like these Chinese equities are like they'll gap up and then they end up being a short intraday, and then at the end of the day you go long, and then it opens up and then it triggers out. It's a tough one, dude. I think that you are right into this last cohort here. So it can come down to like 125s. You want to see it hold that. 125 is a good win no matter where you were. And I think we were saying long in this area, but you're halfway to the trip. Let's see this. Boom.
Yo, I need to learn how to do your job so that every day I can do these tickers for everybody.
I thought that was the whole point of this.
No, but
The point is that he's actually going to fire
good
me
enough to
sooner
do
than
it like
later, guys. I
you.
think it's good.
But if I could do it like you, dude, then every day people would not have to bug you about this. But
That's fine. Dude, I don't know what is going on with my...
this is why our Tuesday show goes for like 3 hours. But today we just can't go that long.
I don't know what's going on with this. This is not right.
Yeah, Jason is the king of this. It's hard to dethrone.
I enjoy it. So I think you get into this little overhead resistance, which is why it's pretty extended technically, but look, you don't necessarily bet against it. This is like, oh my God, 167. Yeah, so if it can really hold, like the thing is, it can come down to 125 to 130 and be like perfectly valid still. You want to see it hold 130. If you lose 130 from here, that's this white dashed line, then you're going to come in. If you lose this, then you're going to come in and retest down to there. But as long as this looks like it's going to be choppy for a bit.
Okay, Oklo.
I haven't looked at it. Oklo. Well, I don't know. They have earnings on Tuesday.
It's just been kind of
Maybe get a little pop, or this is a gamble moment here on Oklo because you have earnings. So you have big move upside. This is profit taking. Usually you get this wave of profit taking before earnings, and then like literally a couple days, 2 days, maybe the day of earnings, you get a big start flooding in again. So tomorrow, if it starts to go up tomorrow, it's probably going to go back up to the 50s, low 50s, and stop just before earnings on Tuesday.
Okay. I think we got one last one. One last one.
They're asking for MSCR. I'm not going to do MSCR. We'll do Bitcoin though for you.
Do Bitcoin to end it off.
Yeah, Bitcoin is look, guys, it's in a box. See this box? That's where you are. It's not going down. It's not going up. It's not out of the box. And so the reason why I was saying it might be more of a short than a long is because it's at the top of the box. And so when you're at the top of the box, sometimes you go to the bottom of the box before you go anywhere. So anyways, that's the box. This is from here to here, the halfway point that it's been like chilling at for a while. It can, if it gets over this 98 hump, then I think that you can get up to the 101s. That's it, 102s. And if we do see this, then you can trade your MSTR. Then you could probably trade your Coinbase. So for Bitcoin tomorrow, if you see it over 99, okay, we probably can trade MSTR and Coinbase. But remember, this is a short-term thing. It's more of like consolidation because the real move is not happening like tomorrow. This is a prolonged effect here. So like if this does go, it's don't be impatient, be patient because it'll be like this, right? So you can see this from here to here, but expect to pull back when you get into this 104s if you get there, and then you'd want to see this hold. So take this kind of trajectory and I would overlay it to your Coinbase and definitely MSTR, which did another raise. Didn't they? Did they raise more cash? think they did.
Yeah,
I
and
don't
I think
know
a lot of
why.
the crypto proxies have been stuck because Bitcoin's been stuck in the box, essentially, right?
Yeah. Your box. You're in the box. Don't expect to get out of the box until you're out of the box. So it's we have a saying in trading. It's like don't anticipate, react, right?
Yeah.
So you're more like anticipating here, which is how you get in a lot of trouble. That and overconfidence, like Hood. Right?
All right. Well, there you go. I'm sorry, guys. We couldn't get to all the tickers. He'll be back on Tuesday. The reason we couldn't do it this Tuesday is because I was asleep.
So it's a short break. And Mick got me sick while he was out here too. You hear my voice?
Dude, I got the sniffles. Like it still hasn't gone away. Whatever.
I get this cough like once every 3 years, and it just doesn't go away for months. And I think this is it. So, unfortunately,
there's Jason's Twitter. Jason, it was fun to be with you in California before.
Yeah, I miss you guys for sure. I wish Spencer had shown up since she's like local. I don't know why he did that.
She's not actually in California. I don't think she is. But this is the video we took real quick, and then we'll end it out in the Cybertruck.
All right, guys.
Oh, that's a Met.
Driving this bad boy.
It was fun to drive it.
Cybertruck.
Yeah,
it was big.
You guys were supposed to like warn me about Amit's driving.
Hold on, I'm a good driver.
This is gonna
Okay.
be
Whatever, dude.
This guy, no, we're not live, but we're doing it. It's time to drive
This
the
is
truck.
2x Amit right there. There's your proof.
Drive the Cybertruck. Don't crash. Here we go. We're gonna hope I don't crash.
He didn't crash.
I'm not a bad driver. It was just
He
a
didn't
big
crash.
ass truck. Like
It's a big car.
trying to stay in one lane is a little tough.
Not a small car.
It's not a small car.
For sure.
All right, Jason, we appreciate you. We love you
guys. It's been fun chat and Amit.
There's a Twitter in the chat. Options 201 probably in a couple weeks. We're working on it. We will do it together.
Yes.
Working on it soon.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Jason.
Later.
Bye. All right, guys. I'm out too. I don't know if you guys can hear it in my voice or you've seen me blow my nose a ton of times, but I've had something all week, to be honest. I popped another couple Tylenol before I went live today, dude. I think I've had like 10 Tylenol in the past 2 days. So either I got something and I'm just suppressing it with the Tylenol, or I need some real antibiotics. I don't know, but we're done for the day. Again, in terms of the summary of today, it was nasty in the morning and it got less nasty during the day. And Palantir right here, still down about 1.8%. It's not below 100 at least. BABA, Ryan Cohen just disclosed he has $1 billion in BABA. So that was some news that we got after hours. S&P basically at all-time highs. Nothing that crazy, down 0.5%. Robinhood as well was down 5% today. It is what it is, not that crazy. And then Rocket Lab as well with a bit of a recovery. But it was down 3% to end the day. The only thing that wasn't down that much was NVIDIA. Actually ended green at 140. So not too bad for NVIDIA. All right, there we go. That is it. Celsius, congrats to those that are in Celsius. Congrats. I mean, this is a good one. Still going. 32% after hours. And I mean, look, if you've been in the name since the low 20s, it's a really good return. If you were bag holding it, you're probably getting closer to break even. So it's not stopping. I'll try to get some updates on Celsius tomorrow, try to figure out what exactly is causing this big of a surge. But it looks like the Alani acquisition, along with the beat on EPS and revenue, along with the fact that the stock was down basically 70%, was enough to get the street excited. Celsius right here up 34% after hours. We did check money markets. It was a $9 billion decrease. A $9 billion decrease. All right, that's it for me. Thank you, everybody. We'll be back tomorrow. It's already Friday tomorrow, which is crazy. I feel like the week just went by, and we're going to be done with February pretty soon. 8 days left. But yeah, we'll be back tomorrow for the market open. All right, thank you, everybody. Bye, everyone. See you guys tomorrow on the market open. Bye, everybody.